All right. Sound looks all right. Just taking a look at some charts tonight. We just had the weekly open for crypto in Asia. Tokyo just opened a few minutes ago, so I was kind of seeing what's going on with everything. Kind of interesting looking at the S&P here of what's going on over the weekend. We put in a nice CME gap, but it's already been filled. They filled it already. They wasted no time with this thing, taking this gap. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what they do tomorrow on this. It's not looking good on the higher time frames. I mean, we'll get rid of this because we already filled this gap. So that's void. That gap's kind of been filled already, but you can see we're just kind of using it as representation. But I mean, look, it's not looking great. Not looking great. We lost that trend. Goes all the way back, right? We lost this trend, and we're back testing right now. So for me, this is time to look for a mega short on this bad boy. I don't know. How's everybody doing tonight? What's up, Switch? I'm thinking short this week, man. I'm looking at this 4 hour. Just looking at it like on the. You got the high right here. You have a low. You have that lower high form, and then you broke it, the market structure right here, right? So that was your break of market structure. But we left behind a CME gap on the S&P, which we filled. We just came and filled it right there. And now they're putting a lower high in, lower than this high. So for me, this is probably where, yeah, this is what I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking the big short right now. I'll probably, tomorrow's open or maybe tonight, depending, I might actually look for a short. If you're just following this money line right here, I mean, that'll be where I've been looking for it. If it comes back up and taps this line, maybe into this area, that would be kind of cool, right? A little tap right up there, and then bang, roll over. Nice short, and then my target, dude. Oh, let me show you where my target is on this thing. It's like all the way down here. It's down at like 61, 67. That's the major high before it. That's about a 10% drop. And I think that happens. I think that's going to happen pretty soon. So, yeah, I'm going to try to catch that. It's probably a dead night, man. It's a snowstorm. I don't know where you're from, but like where I'm at right now, dude, it's like 20 inches. They said 20 inches of snow. We got about 7. And it's starting to like sleet and hail. So I was like, ugh. Like, schools are already closed for tomorrow. Like, roads already. It's like state of emergency. It's all bullshit. It's everywhere though, I think. What about you guys? Anybody get some snow where they're from? Anyways, this is the S&P. I'm looking for a short this week. I'm going to post this one in my Discord if you guys aren't joined. Join up. It's free. I throw setups in there. Ideas. It's lots of stuff in there. Go look at the S&P. It's kind of this, not the S&P, the Nasdaq's kind of the same situation, man. It lost trend all the way back here from April, right? We're coiling up, and we start to break down. The 4 hour shift already happened. There's your high, there's your low, there's your lower high, and then bang, you broke market structure. Now you're coming back up. I got a lot of extra TA in here. I'm gonna clean up, but yeah, it's filled that gap actually to the downside, so that we could take that away. But yeah, it's not looking great. I mean, it's back testing now a previous range. It's filling the CME gap from the weekend that it put in. I'll be looking for shorts on this one too. I'd be a little bit more short biased. Now look, if this thing decides it's going to pump up, I mean, really, what does it have to break? It's got to get back above this high here. like probably around 25,800 to be bullish because the market structure is starting to break down on the 4 hour. It's not a good sign. And we already lost trend. This could just be a bearish retest. So I'll be looking for shorts in this area up here. That's just my plan. I don't know. You guys do your plan, but that's what I'm thinking on that. I'm watching NVIDIA this week. It's another little kind of something I'm just eyeing up. I don't really have any like direction on it. We were flirting with the idea that this could be a bull flag that would take us back to the all-time high. But I don't know yet. I don't know. We're going to see how this week opens. Right now we're at resistance, so there could be a pullback coming for the week on NVIDIA. I don't even know what the aftermarkets are saying. It could be lower than this right now. Could be higher. But I'm going to watch it. I mean, higher time frames, look, it's kind of at a do or die. This is either going to be one of two things. It's either going to be like some type of head and shoulders topping pattern, right, that we're forming that eventually breaks down and takes us to lower levels. Maybe back down to like $100, a little bit lower than that. I think we'll get some pit stops around 150, this level here, if we do break down. That's the previous high. I think we could test there. But if it's going to try to make a breakout, this is the time to do it. It's starting to form, like, you know, the daily. It's got daily structure shift right here. You got the daily low, high, higher low, and then you broke it. Now you're back testing. So if it can break out from here, I think the all-time highs are not too far away for NVIDIA. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Let's silver. Have you guys been following silver? We were talking about like a potential short here, and that did not play out. I was like, let's see if they go up there. And when they got up to that high, I just chalked the idea of the short. They broke out, they retest, and they're just going to keep going. Dude, metals are going nuts right now. I've been long, I actually caught the long here on silver. Took it up to the all-time highs, and I just was waiting for the next move, and I didn't capitalize on another pump. The one area I will look at right now, that is the area of interest for me. Silver's going to pull back, right? This is gold, I'm sorry. We're looking at gold. I keep saying silver. But if gold's going to pull back, this is where I'm thinking we're going. There's a CME gap right here. It's that previous high. It's before the weekend, right? This is where they left the gap on the weekend. If they're coming back for anything, they're coming back for that, and then they're going to run it up. I'm going to show you a similar situation on silver, what silver just did. So gold's pierced its $5,000 level. So coming back down to 5,000 would actually come back to test the gap. So I want to see what happens. I'm going to watch to see what happens when you get down here. I think it does pull back eventually to that point. Now, silver is a little different. So silver's fucking just going, right? This was the gap that I was talking about earlier on silver. When I mentioned gold, that was a CME gap. It came back, filled it, and then continued up. So I want to see if gold does something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If it's going to continue up, that's what it's going to do. If not, it's probably going to reject, and that'll be a key point to watch. But silver's just in a straight up line, man. I don't know where this thing's going. Like $100 is kind of my prediction, and it's surpassed that. Like I don't have another target for it. I guess it's up till it's not. 100%, dude. I don't know who's trying to short it. I haven't. I said I was looking for an initial sweep at the high, and it didn't happen, so I didn't take the trade. I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is. It's better just to play the trend, though. You're right. 100%. 100%. We had somebody in the Discord talking about shorting silver, and Ben's like, dude, short something else. Pick something else to short. He's just like, he was right, man. He was talking about it like right here. Around $100. He was talking about shorting it. He's like, don't do it. I hope he listened. Because, I mean, this thing just went up straight. So, yeah, I don't really have a prediction on this thing, man. I don't know where this thing's going to go. Right now, it looks like this is a weekend pump. So, you can never really trust these things 100%. If they were going to bring it back, they're coming all the way back down to, like, this level here. Like, down here on silver. Back out on 100. Because that's pretty much where it left off. It actually left off a little higher than that on Friday. I left off right around here. Yeah, right around this level, around 101, 103. So maybe they revisit that. They come take back some of that liquidity. It's not a promised or guaranteed or anything like that. So I don't know. But yeah. That's interesting. It's saying not getting any views on TikTok. Something's up with that. Can you guys hear me clear? Is my mic alright? TikTok's giving me warnings. I'll be ever to buy it. What was your DCA on silver, Switch? Was it down like 30? Yeah, dude. It was not that long ago. It was down at 30, $40, man. We were talking about it. We're like, what the fuck? This thing is like going nuts. And yeah, look at this little trend we got going on. Man, silver's just, yeah, you can't fade this thing right now. I'm going to show you copper real quick. That's probably a better trend to follow because it's really tight. So maybe if it comes back down, that'd be a trend you can watch. Let me show you copper. I called this one out the other day too in the Discord. Right down here. I said, watch copper. It was around like 570, 580. I said, keep an eye on this one because it looks like it's getting ready to pop. It's just been up only. Look at this thing. Boom, right? Just following the paths of like silver and gold. But when you go to the daily, it was like, it was printing daily bullish divergence. I'm like, watch that. Like, hold on, let me get rid of the market cipher. Just look at the low. Look at the momentum wave. How the momentum's shifting down, but as price is moving up, that's a hidden bullish on the daily. So copper's getting ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if copper takes its all-time highs. On the daily, it's poised for a move back up there. So you could see copper back at 619 pretty quick. Gave this one out in the Discord. Like I said, this was and look at the head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, reversal pattern, boom, 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 and then pops. Like that's picture perfect right there. That's what you want to see. That was a nice play. I don't know if anybody paid attention to copper, but the metals are moving like they're saying. 1 second, guys. I want to check something. Yeah. I'm in a trade right now, so I had to check my trade. So I'm in a Bitcoin trade. So we'll talk about BTC real quick since we talked about the metals, we talked about the S&P. But BTC is not in a great spot right now. I mean, look, here's what happened. We lost this trend. We were fighting with reclaiming this trend on Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, we lost it. We just literally dumped out. So this is the first level that like will make sense for me to bounce. If we're going to bounce, it's going to be somewhere here. Why? Because look, we just swept the range low. If I take a fixed range volume profile and run it across, we're at the value area low. All right? So because we rejected on the POC, it was always clear that look, if we reject here, we're coming down to this 86 level. Now, if we can hold this 86 and hold this value area low, it's just a sweep of the range low and then maybe a potential move up. But we already lost that trend. So right now, I'm a little bit more bearish on this now because one, we lost daily low. We're rejected off of back test of it. We lost trend. It's starting to paint a picture that this might be bearish. Doesn't necessarily mean we can't come up first, hit some of these levels, maybe the POC again, or possibly even higher and go back up to the value area high before a rejection. It could do that. Or it could continue up. But right now, if I had to pick, I'd say probabilities are a little bit more to the downside. But I want to see how this week opens. I want to see when the markets open, how they react, like especially New York. I really need to see what New York's going to do. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm long off the low. Why? Because I knew this was a significant low. I saw the way we swept it. When I saw the closure, I actually went down to my 15-minute, right? And I was like, okay, so we have two lows, double bottom. When I saw the break of this high right here in the back test, I got in. I got in on the back test. Simple as that. Wasn't perfect. Wasn't the greatest entry, but I'm in from down here. So I got a little bit of a trend. As long as that trend holds, I'm staying in the trade. My target for the long is either the high here around 89,000, which was pretty much where we closed the weekend. But there's actually, I'm going to show you on CME. This is why I think we're going up a little bit in the short term on BTC. Just got to find CME. There it is. So look at the CME gap. Let me get rid of this. So this is where we closed CME on Friday. Back up here around 89. Remember that high I was talking about around 89,000? That's why it makes sense to me. Because it closes the CME gap. So I think they'll do that. This is the gap we have left to fill. So I think they will fill the CME. It also lines up with that high, which was the daily high we lost. So, and it was, it just makes sense that we make our way back up there. And then they make a decision. If they decide they want to run it up and then roll it over, that's what they'll do. If they decide that could also be a play, So I'm going to be watching for that tomorrow. But for now, I think we push into the gap. Maybe we reject a little bit, right? Because we're in the gap a little bit. Maybe we'll pull back and then push up and then make our way up slowly. It doesn't have to happen in like one move, but that's what I'm watching for. Toss some tickers in the chat if you guys want me to look at anything. I know it's a little quiet here tonight, so be able to actually like really look at some stuff. Maybe we won't get spammed with so many things. What's up, everybody? Anybody else sitting in like 10 inches of snow right now? I'm like, you can't even go outside right now. My dog is miserable. She's just like so pissed off. Every time I take her out, she just runs right back in because she sees the snow. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm good. But yeah. So this is BTC right now, man. I'm just watching it. I'm in a long. I don't plan on getting out of that long until that trend gets lost. Yeah, look, we got a CME gap from that we closed the weekend around 89.1, 89.2. I think we're pushing back up to fill that gap. I think that's what BTC is on its way of doing. Does it go in a straight line? Probably not. Zoomed out, we're just at value area low. We lost major trend, right? That's our major trend. We lost it. But we're bouncing off the value area low right now. We're trying to reclaim it. So there could be another push back up. The key level now to get above is this 90,400. We got to get back up POC to start flipping a little bit more bullish. But I mean, I was under the impression if we could hold this trend, we could push back up to 98. But we didn't hold trend. So right now I'm more on the bearish side. So I'm thinking any pushes we get, I'm looking to see if lower highs form. So I might be looking to put my short cap back on. That's what I'm thinking on BTC. I mean, that's just me. You trade you. I would wait till the market opens to see what happens tomorrow. For now, we just got a little bit of a 15-minute market structure shift, right? So for now, on the lower time frames, the trend is up. So this is the immediate high I'm watching. It's a little different. It's about 89,000. So when we get up to 89,000, that's kind of where the CME gap fills. So I want to see what happens up there. And that'll be probably where I'll make my decision whether I'm going to exit my long. Got to make decisions up there. So let me just type that in there, CME. What else you guys want to look at? I can look at alts while we're deciding, but alts got smashed too, man. They haven't been doing too hot. Let me go look at others. This is just the aggregate of all the altcoins minus the top 10. So we lost trend a while back, and we've been failing to get back above. The only saving grace right here I can see potentially for altcoins, and this is like really stretching it, right? Is maybe potentially this is an inverse head and shoulders. We're coming back down to move back up. If you pull a fib from the low, we're bouncing in the golden pocket right now, right? You can see the 618786. We're right in that area. So if we were going to put a higher low in, this is where it would have to happen. What I don't like is the daily. We're flirting with losing daily market structure right now. If we lose this low, that's daily market structure shift. That's not a good thing. So this is others. This is all the alts. So it's in a tough area, man. I'm gonna get to ETH in a second. Got a little bit of a trend here we can maybe watch, but I mean that's not even that great. I probably wouldn't trust it too much. It's not the cleanest trend. So really want to try to get back above 209 for others. ETH, the same scenario as Bitcoin, man. It lost trend, right? This is ETH. So boom, we lost trend. We failed to get back above it. We attempted to, right? We fought a little bit. You could see the wicks. Now it's starting to mark down. So I mean, I think ETH's on its way back down to maybe eventually hit this low. It front ran it a little bit. This low right here. So what I'm thinking is probably going to happen, same thing with Bitcoin. It's going to run back up, fill some of that gap, some of that it left behind over the weekend. And if it's going to put a lower high in, it'll do it there, and then it'll come grab some of that liquidity. ETH could make its way back down to 2,600. I mean, You lose a trend, a lot of times you sweep all the liquidity. That's usually how they work. And that could happen. So I don't want to get super bearish just yet. BTC's pulling back though. Let's see what's happening here. Nah, it's just a pullback. They're going to probably bring it back down to test one of the levels below. We're still good. But yeah, ETH's not looking great, man. And nothing's looking good in the long term. Like the higher time frames, it's not looking so hot. Short time frames, we may get little bounces, but I think ETH's on its way down. If I had to look at a higher time frame, if this bear flag plays out, man, this thing's coming down, dude. This thing's going to come down and sweep this low at 1400. Like, that's what's going to end up happening on ETH if this thing really does break down, this flag. It could stop here. Now, look, here's the two big targets, I think, on the higher time frames on ETH. You got this level around 2100, 2000, and you have this level here around 1400. Those are the weekly levels. Those are the major levels that if we lose this low here around 26, that's where ETH's going. It's going either there or it's coming down here. It's only two levels like left to the downside. It's already swept the weekly high and it's rejected. So it's in that spot, man. It's got to make a decision. I think I'm going to close my trades out and take the W for tonight. Sorry, give me a second, guys, while I do that. Sometimes when you're up, you just got to, like, take the profits that are there, not play the game. So, like, I'm in from down here on BTC, right? I'm in from all the way down here. And it got a nice little pump, and now we're pulling back. So I don't want to risk running all the way back down to my, like, close to my entry and then giving back all the profits. So I'll wait and see what Bitcoin does. This is kind of how I trade. So, but just a little explanation on that. What else you guys want to look at? I saw ETH. We looked at some of the alts. Not much happening right now in the markets. Kind of, like, besides metals, nothing's really going anywhere. And BTC looks like it's getting ready for a pullback. Let's see where the VWAP's at. Could just come back down to VWAP. Asia hasn't tested VWAP yet. So we'll know at this level here around 87,250 what they're going to do. They could just run it down to here, tap that, and then run back up, or they could come down, sweep the low, retest the value area low, which they haven't tested yet. So we broke out, we haven't retested, so that could be an area there. Could line up with this trend right here too. So could be a bounce coming. We just got to see what happens in the short term on BTC. Yeah, if you're tuning in, you're not following us, give us a follow on TikTok. My name's Eddie. I'm a trader at Tactical Edge. It's myself, Ben, and Nick. We all do lives most days of the week, about 6 days a week, 7 days sometimes. We have a Discord and a website. Check out our website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Links are in the bio. It's free to join. Tons of educational stuff on there if you're interested in learning about trading, learning about the markets. If you're looking for a community, check out our Discord. Free to join. Same scenario, education, trading, we talk markets, but, you know, it's a community of us, and you can bounce ideas off each other. I throw setups, I throw what I'm looking at, Ben does the same, so does Nick. So check us out if you're interested. Enough of my shilling. So yeah, waiting to see what Bitcoin does here, so I'm going to come back to this one. What else you guys want to look at? Throw some charts in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to start browsing around and seeing what's out there. Fucking gold. It's gold and silver, man. Look at that. It's just flagging out. Farcoin. I can go look at Farcoin. It's Pepe. Farcoin. I actually have TA on Farcoin. Old TA. So, look. I thought it was going to break out before it did, and it failed breakout. I'll show you right here. So this is what Farcoin did before. I was watching it. So at the top of the range, it started to consolidate. It broke out of the falling wedge, faked out, came down, and just broke down. So where's it going? Well, probably back down to the bottom of the range. This is kind of where it's been trading for the most part, right? It's been tapping down here around 22, 23 cents. It can't get back above this 46 cents high. It's rejected there multiple times, and it's back down here. So I think it's probably coming back down to the lows around 23 if I had to guess. Let me see if there's a volume profile. I mean, volume profile, you're right at the value area low right now. So if you don't hold this level right where it's at, you're probably coming down to take some of these lows here around 23 like we mentioned. But yeah, Farcoin's not looking great. Let me see what the volume looks like. Momentum straight down. Weekly's pointed down. I mean, hey, if you lose this low, this wick's coming. This 10-cent wick. So if you're short, I'll give you some context on this too. Let me just kind of get rid of all the TA, right? Let's get really bearish with you. What's that? That's a bear flag. That's breaking down. So if this, because this trend's, you lost this trend, my expectation is it's going to come sweep some of these lows. Starting with the range low we talked about, right? But if it breaks lower than that, then you have to imagine it could come down and sweep this wick too. So really what you're watching for is this 23, 24 cent low right here that we talked about. That's the big area you got to watch. If it starts to lose that, well, if you lose where you're at now, you're coming here. If you lose that, you're probably coming down to fill some of the, either this low here or probably this one here, most likely. Let's see what volume says. Volume agrees down. Look at it. It's pointed down. That's on the daily. Weekly's the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Farcoin starts to come down. I also wouldn't be surprised if it runs back up back in the day. Feels like that was a while. Made a small fortune. I used to trade a Farcoin a lot. I did make a lot of money on it. It was fun to trade. It was volatile. But like everything, it comes to an end. The volume leaves, people leave it, and it just becomes like a dead asset. So it just becomes people getting sold off into manipulation. It becomes a whole thing you have to deal with. Good time to short Farcoin. Probably not a great time to short it right now. So here's what I would do if I was looking for a short. See how we lost that trend? That trend's going to be major resistance. So let's just kind of zoom in on the 4 hour. Let's build some local levels to watch. So you had this little range here, right? So obviously this range high is going to serve as resistance. But we also have a little bit of like a range low that we're bumping back into right around here. You can see multiple times we've hit it. So those are two levels. If Farcoin was going to push back in, right, and do like a bearish retest, those are probably the levels I would watch. The fibs don't really line up here. So I would watch for, first I would watch for a rejection around 29, and then I'll watch for maybe a push up a little higher for shorts. You know, maybe something like that. Because if it can't get back into this range and rejects here, it's definitely coming down, right? So that's a clear sign. But if it pushes back into the range, it makes its way back up here, fails to break out, right? Just does some stupid stuff like that, and then starts to roll over. That's another place you could look for a short. And then there's also the really bullish scenario where they'll run it all the way up, right? And this happens sometimes too. Take all the liquidity, stop out all the shorts, grab all the liquidity, right? Then run it down. So that's always a possibility as well. That's a little bit less likely because that like requires them to like manipulate the price back up. So I think those are like kind of the levels I would watch. 29 and 30, like 31 are the two major levels for shorts. I mean, if it can't get back above 29, you know it's going to roll over, and your level below is, I mean, you got 26 as an area, and then that 23 area we talked about. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I appreciate it, Mar. What's up, Parker? Sorry, I got to take out this dip. Ugh, sorry. Put a nicotine patch in before I started. I always forget to take it out before the stream, but whatever. Anyways, what else you guys want to look at? Yeah, dip hell, right? Like both the charts and this. So look, I guess BTC, I'm looking for a trade around here. I'm looking for a bounce right around here, somewhere in this area, right? If I can catch a bounce there, I think we get back up to fill the CME gap. So I'll be looking for a long there. That's my next possible move. If I was going to take a trade tonight, it would be something like that. And then I would pop a stop like right under here. Target this high here. Something like that. That's what I'm looking for. If it don't play out that way, it don't play out that way. But, I mean, we're above VWAP still on BTC. So maybe it comes back down and dips just below VWAP. A lot of times they like to fake it out with the VWAP too. They don't just bounce right on it. They dip a little bit below it, stop some people out, and then run it up. I was long at 87. Dude, I was long from here, but I took profits because honestly, the pullback would have got so close to my TP, I didn't want to risk it because I don't know what they're going to do. So I just took the profits was there. I was like, I'm going to take it. I can always get back into a new trade. Sometimes when you're scalping, you just take what's there. You don't always get the full target. But let's say I'm targeting this 88.9, right, or this 89K. There may be multiple trades, so that's why I'm eyeing up my next little trade. I like to get in and out of the market when I'm day trading. I don't like to be in a position and watch drawbacks. And not in the market we're in right now. It's been very hard to hold a move because just like they did on Friday. I don't know if you guys watched Friday, right? I was long, and they did this. I was long when we reclaimed. They popped it up. They ran it right back down. So that's the kind of market we're in right now, like where they can run it and then reverse it right instantly. So just gotta keep that in mind. And the trend is down, so I don't want to be in longs very long. Yeah, I mean, look, trading's about losing money. You're gonna lose. You can't learn how to win until you learn how to lose, and then fix why you lost or learn off the losses. The whole get it back mindset, it's not even about getting it back. Just look at it as tuition. You paid tuition, you learned a lesson. Trying to get it back is going to it's an emotion you don't want to have to tap into. You should focus more on getting it right and getting it right over time. And if you can do that with your system and your strategy and your discipline, you'll be a good trader. And the money will come. Well, just keep that in mind. That's my Yoda quote for the day. You're not getting any more wisdom out of me. But yeah. A little quiet tonight. I guess the bad weather. I don't blame people for not wanting to be on the computer watching the markets. I guess the market's open tomorrow. Let me check and see if there's anything we got to worry about this week as far as news goes. So we got nothing tomorrow, nothing Tuesday. Wednesday, we do have the FOMC press conference and the rate decision on Wednesday. So that's a big day. We're not expecting any rate cuts, but it's going to be a lot of volatility leading into that because, everyone's anticipating what Jerome Powell may say, that whole thing. So they're going to play that game. So we'll see. You Apple, yeah. The link, here, let me just type in Tactical Edge Traders. I just typed it in the chat. TacticalEdgeTraders.com, and then the website should come up if you can't find the link. Let me go look at Apple real quick. I was actually in an Apple trade and I closed it out. I was in an Apple short. So Apple, higher time frames, it's bearish. It's at the top of the range. It rejected, right? Top of the channel. We put in a daily head and shoulders. We had our market structure shift on Apple. Let me get rid of the VWAP. So, right, we lost this major trend. We had the head and shoulders. We broke down. We bear flagged out. We ran down. We hit our first area of the bounce. So we are getting a little bounce there now. We don't know if it's going to continue down or it's going to bounce back up. If it were to bounce up from this level, the first area I'd be watching is this 260 for a back test possibly, and then maybe continuation down. But it could come up higher than that. It has been running down quite a bit. So you had your one big impulse, your pushback, 2, and then your 3. So it could be in for an ABC correction where we pump up, maybe get a little bit of a correction before the bigger dump back down. So got to keep that in mind with Apple. I know it's a lot of assumptions there, but that's kind of what I'm watching for. So for now, support is 243 and major resistance is around 260, 262. So we'll just watch it in that range. I'm out of my short, but I will probably look for shorts if it does start to reject at this level or maybe a little bit higher up at 280. So those are kind of like the levels I'm watching on Apple. You think it got filtered out? Just type in MAR. Just type in tacticaledgetraders.com if you can't find it. If you're on TikTok, it should be. You have to go under our page, follow our TikTok, and you should look at the top, and it'll be like right underneath like the bio for the page. I'm not sure if you're like doing it from there. Locally on Apple, I'd be watching. I mean, look, we're just kind of chopping around, right? You got a little bit of a local range. You can always use your volume profile tool for this, right? So as long as it's ranging around, I wouldn't get too excited about anything here. But if it does start to pop back up, right, start to break highs, then you could start to look for a move back up to this level. Vice versa, if you start to lose this, you're probably coming back down to take this low here. So right now you're at the POC, probably the worst place to even try to take a trade because it just chops sideways a lot of times. So look for direction. Look for direction in this range. See if you can get back above 250, then maybe 260 maybe in the cards. And if you start to lose this low around 246, you're probably coming down to retest the lows, maybe go a little bit lower. Where there is this little bit of a wick down here at 239 that they didn't grab. So possibly if they wanted to, maybe like run it down one more time before it bounce, they could do that. That's also another area I could see them maybe going. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. They call it an Apple slingshot. Bring it down, sling it on earnings. Their earnings are coming up, dude. It's kind of why I got out of the trade. I was like, I'm not playing that game. Damn, it's this week. Yeah, I'm kind of. Something told me like when they stop it like that, dead stop after a bit nice trend down, usually means they're gonna try to do some fuckery. I don't want to be involved on it, so or in it. But yeah, Apple, man. Apple's going to be a good short. I think Apple eventually makes its way down to here. Let me show you before I get out of this. I think eventually Apple's going to be probably down here around 220, 215. That'll be probably a great spot. If you're looking at it macro, right? The lower the trend, and this is yearly, right? Multi-year. Every time it gets down to the low of this trend, it's a great place to accumulate. So when we get back down to here to like 212, 215, that area, it's probably going to be a great place to accumulate Apple. And I guarantee it'll probably make its way up to 300 after that. So it hasn't, but I mean the trend's still up but if it does break this trend to the downside, man, then hey, probably something not good in Apple. That would be crazy, right? Some crazy ass like drop like that. Whew. That I would buy it up. If Apple dumped down to like $100. Or like even down to like 126 to slow right here, I'll buy it up. They may. I don't know, man. I don't really follow the fundamental side too much on a lot of these stocks. I just trade the charts. I think they could bounce it, like I said, and then bring it down. But I think ultimately it's going to be down. In the next 6 months, I think it'll be lower than it is today. So that's just kind of what I'm seeing there. Dude, Baba. I gave this trade out in the chat too. Not in the chat, in the Discord. This is the Baba trade we talked about a while back. We're like, we'll flip this level, right? And it was consolidating. And I posted, I was like, look at this flag. And it popped the flag. I think it's coming up to 233. I wouldn't be surprised if Baba makes its way up there. This is overseas too, so that's making a nice little pump. That was another one we talked about. Soxel, yeah, I can go over that. All right. So we're right up against resistance. We rejected off this trend. We talked about this trend last time. Let me get rid of everything real quick. So we talked about this trend here. All right. This is the first kind of resistance we're seeing. All right. They made this a resistance because they formed a trend. So right now we're getting a little bit of a rejection. it has put lower highs in on the weekly every single time. So that was the first thing. Like, look, it's got to break this or otherwise it's never going to take that all-time high. So lower highs, boom, boom, right? So we got lower highs. So right now, I'm thinking probably a little bit of a pullback coming on this thing. So where do we go? So you could start with a trend line and see what makes sense. So we got an immediate trend here on the 4-hour, right? As long as we're above this trend, we're good. We start to lose this trend, we start to flirt with losing market structure on the 4-hour and potentially a bigger drop. Where could the drop take us? Well, if I had to pick a spot, this is probably the most likely area right here, the previous high we broke out of, right? It's the biggest resistance. And we never really properly backtested. We did get a little bit of a backtest here when we broke out. But it wouldn't be crazy if we did break down for us to come back down there and test that area. So that's what I'm looking at to the downside. That's about $50, $51. And to the upside, I mean, resistance is at 67, man, 67.50. You got to break that. So for now, just track trend right you're on, right? If you lose this trend, probably coming back down to 51. Above this trend, you're going to keep attacking this high. And if you can break that high, then there's no reason you probably don't go for the all-time high after that. I mean, it's not far away. It's at 75. So that's really the levels though to watch on this thing. Let me see if I can find some internal stuff like volume. The volume was good for a while, but then it faded out. So it needs to start picking back up. You don't see it on the daily either. So the volume's not there really. You get a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour. So if this thing starts to run up on the 4-hour, then you can start to maybe see that the daily start to pick up a little bit. But let's see if the volume picks up on the 4-hour first. Let me check market cipher real quick. I mean, the money flow looks good. Daily does look a little overcooked. Weekly look like it still has a little bit more upside on the momentum. Yeah, it could go either way here. I mean, it could continue to push. Maybe it just needs a short-term pullback, like a breather, based on the higher time frames. If you go down to even a lower time frame, let's say you go to like your 30, right, or your hourly, you can probably get even a better trend. So you can probably run a trend from here down. And if it just continues to just do this, right, see what happens. If it breaks the trend eventually, it flips market structure, you might get the early, like that. A play like that would make a lot of sense to me. That would be something I would take if I saw something like that. It looks a lot different when I go to a lower time frame for some reason. I don't know why it shifted all my. See how it shifted my lines down? That's weird. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Let's play something like this. If you get something like that, then you get another attack at the all-time highs. Could be a nice little short-term long there. Vice versa, you lose this, then you look for the short down to there. But yeah, that's Soxel. Is now a good time to sell? I mean, depends. Where are you in at? Depends on what your goals are. I mean, look, if you're in, realistically, if you're in from down here somewhere, it's always a good time to sell when you're hitting the all-time highs. At least take some profits off the table, right? If you're in from like here, then yeah, I mean, maybe it just really depends. Like, I don't know. Like, are you in a long? Are you in just holding a spot? Are you using leverage? What's your entry? Like, those things matter. But I mean, you're pretty close to all-time highs, man. So if you're in profits, it's not a bad time to sell. That would be the best advice I can give you. You got in at fuck yeah, dude. It's a great time to take profits. If you got in at $12, dude, you're at the damn bottom. Like, I'm not saying you got to sell everything, but like if you haven't sold some, at least lock something in, or at least move like a limit order, like a limit sell order, like maybe underneath $51. If you start to lose 51, you can get out. Or like set some areas for yourself that you're gonna cut it off. Like, you know what I mean? Good stuff, man. Yeah. Nah, you're on top of it. Look, BTC's still going up. I was dumb for getting out. Well, didn't go down as far as I wanted it to. Oh well. It is still coming up against resistance here, so we'll see what happens at this level on BTC. There's a lot of resistance up here, so it could just push back up to come down. So the trade idea is not crazy, but it did bounce right off VWAP, didn't it? No, it front ran it. That's sus. That's suspect. I don't trust this. When I see volume coming down, I see we front ran VWAP. That looks like, yeah, should have held. The volume's dying. That's what I'm saying. I think this is a trap. I think they're just pushing it into this resistance here, and then I think they're going to run it back. But I could be wrong. Maybe they'll just run it all the way up. Sometimes they do tricky stuff. This could be shorts getting closed out too. They could be squeezing shorts. I'd have to check CBD for that. That's good stuff though. Yeah, I can check out Oklo. What is that? Alright, let's get rid of these indicators first. Fresh chart. Get off the 1 minute. Alright, so see this on the weekly real quick. So we've been in an uptrend for quite a bit of time. We had a little bit of a blow off top. What does it look like? A blow off top at least. If you took a trend from down here and ran this straight up, it looks like we broke down from the trend and we're back testing, right? So this is the ultimate bearish thing. But put that aside, right? You put a low in here, you put a high that matched this high. So what you're looking for here is one of two things. You're either looking for a higher low to get formed, right? And then to go attack these highs, and that would be the target around 116. Try to get those highs. If you can break that target, you'll probably flip bullish, right? And then you probably go back up and start to attack some of these highs, maybe 150, maybe 190. If you can't get back above that level around 115, you see how it lines up with that trend, then it's probably just going to be a rollover. And then you're probably going to come back down here and grab some of the lows that you left behind. Right here, right down there. So, you know, that's kind of where you're at. It needs to do something now, soon, before it starts to lose momentum. Which it's already lost. It's lost trend, so you got people probably already starting to short this thing. Let me get rid of all the TA real quick. If I'm looking at the indicators, I mean, the money flow doesn't look terrible. 1 second, guys. Sorry, I had to mute for some background noise. So the money flow doesn't look terrible, but the momentum's starting to shift down. So, yeah, man, this is a tough one. That's a tough one. So I would just watch this low, dude. That's your big indicator. You lose this low here, you're coming down to grab more liquidity, and this was just a sweep, because the fact that you swept this high here, right? It tells you that they're probably going to go for liquidity in the opposite direction. The only liquidity is here, from what I can see. So it's like, do you put a higher low in before you get down here, or do you come down here? Because if you take this low, damn, bro. If you take this low right here, then you're probably coming down. You can't see the numbers. Can't see numbers on the left side? The numbers are on the left. Let me know if you can't see them. How far is it cut off? Oh, I get what you're saying. It's because it's on. Let me see what TikTok looks like real quick. It's showing on TikTok, but when you zoom in on the app, it zooms in, so it cuts off the numbers. Yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, so look, 71 is the low, and then the numbers at top around 114. It's a big range, man. It's a big range. And if it was going to bounce, it would probably be bouncing around this area here, between 89 and 81. Like somewhere in this box. Let me just drag this over so you can see it. Can you see the numbers now? Yeah, it's a TikTok thing, man. They when you zoom in, like it shows you, it pretty much zooms in on your screen, so it cuts out the edges. And unfortunately, there's nowhere else to put the numbers. So I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, how do you watching this level here, man, to see if we get a bounce? Otherwise, it's probably back down to the low around 71, $70.50, that area. But yeah, guys, I'm not going to be streaming long today. I think I'm probably going to call it now. I just want to get on to get just a little bit of a market update, but there's just not too much happening, and I'm not really feeling it today. I feel like crap. Weather's crap. So I just wanted to make sure I was in. But I'll be back on tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a little bit more going on because the markets will have a day to digest the weekend, price action, so we can get a little bit more direction tomorrow going into it. Yeah, Bitcoin update before I go. Sure. We're coming up to fill the CME gap, bro. That's what's happening. We got this level here around 88,100 that we could get a little bit of temporary resistance, but ultimately I think we come up and fill the CME gap we left on Friday. We closed up here around close to 89,000, so I think they're making their way up to fill that. After that, who knows, man? They could like I said, we're holding the value area low on Bitcoin right here, but we've lost macro trend. So it's like, what weighs more? To me, the trend's a little bit more important than just this range. So any lower highs that get put in, or any lows, like any swing lows highs that get put in, I'll be looking at them as lower highs to potentially short. So like any pushes up, I'm looking for potential short back down. That's just what the market structure and everything's telling me to do. So I'm not trying to be super bearish. I was actually kind of hoping we would push up a little bit higher than this when we were up here, but we lost the trend, and that was my big red flag. Get the fuck out, or just get risk off and then just trade it. So CME gap around 89,000. That's your big level, and then you have a smaller level around 88,100. But I appreciate y'all for stopping in. Sorry it was a short stream today. Like I said, I was not feeling it today, but I'll be back on tomorrow. And if you haven't given us a follow, give us a follow on TikTok. Check out our Discord. Check out our website. It's free to join. And yeah, tag me if you do join. Let me know you're in there. Unfair Philly. That's my tag. Anyways, later, y'all. Appreciate it.